Okie dokie dokes. All right. Once again, this is a 212 review session. I'm assuming most of the 111 students funneled out. So we're good. All right. Monica, could you keep track of the weight room as well? Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
All right. So, let me ask you guys, which practice exam do you want to go over? I have a few. We got from 2020. Ooh, this down. One from 2020. Got this one from 2013. Is this from 2013? It is from 2013. We got this one. Into the year, but does anyone have a specific question they want to go over, a specific one, or do you just want to like roll with it? Go roll with it if need be.
If we can go over the 2020 exam.
The entire thing?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Um, everyone can see my screen, right? Everyone can see my screen.
Yep.
Yes.
All right, try to. Okay. Bit of a warning beforehand. It's been a while since I took 12, like a while, and I never took it with Lord. I had it the one semester Aquinar taught it, so a lot of the stuff that Aquinar teach, what Lord teaches, Aquinar didn't teach. But we'll try. And so if I make mistakes, correct me. Like, sincerely, please correct me. Okay. Ooh. Hold on, hold on. There you go. Alrighty. So the first question's asking, write a complete main method that does the following. Yeah. Takes any number but at least two. Requested captions. Sure. Takes any number but at least two command line arguments, which are words represented as strings, and will print to the console the number of words of length 3. Hint, loop through the args array. Why, thank you. If there are not at least two, that's very weird English. If there are not at least two command line arguments, then throw an illegal argument exception with an appropriate message. Okie dokie. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Wait a minute. Oh, okay. Okay. Any ideas? Any suggestions? Let's get started. I want to hear suggestions. I don't want them to be me giving answers. I want to hear suggestions. What do you want to do? What should we do first? Any ideas? Any ideas? Hint, hint. They gave a hint. What should we do? Any takers?
Check if the argument size is less than 2. I mean, greater
Okay.
than 2.
Okay, okay. That's good. That's good. Um, Wait, correct me if I'm wrong. The Java in question one count in arguments, right? Assuming they do. Monica, correct me if I'm wrong.
Here I'm pretty sure they don't. It's just Mary had a little cat.
So it's from Mary on, right?
Yeah, question one is the name of the class.
Okay. All right, then we're good. So that's a nice starting. What we're gonna do is first let's do this second part right here. If there are not at least two command line arguments, throw an illegal argument exception. So the command line arguments are stored in this array, the args array. So what we could do is we could check the length of the array. If it's less than 2, then it's not good. We can't do it. So how do we do that? We do if, like an item, if I think it's args dot length. No, yeah, no parentheses. Is less than 2. What are we gonna do? We are gonna ignore if you hear any weird noises in the background just because my brother's playing Valorant. I will try to shut him up, but there's only so much I could do. So yeah. 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, what are we gonna do? We're gonna throw new legal argument exception what are we gonna say? We're gonna say not enough input strings. Okay, that's that. Once again, correct me if I'm wrong. If I make mistakes, please correct me. Everyone okay with this part right here? Everyone good? You can use the chat too. I'm not gonna force you guys to speak. All right, all good? We good? Okay. Okay. All right, so now comes the big part. Taking a number at least two command line arguments, which are words. Okay. We want to print to the console the number of words of length 3. Okay, so we want to print the number. I want to keep track of the number of words. Let's first create a variable for that. So let's say int count is 0, right? Keep track of the number of words. Okay. And now I want to loop through args. I want to loop through the args array. And I want to, every time I encounter a word of length 3, I want to increase count by 1. And then at the very end, I want to print. Right, so let's write out the code. Let's do the code. Loop through args. Every time we get a word of length 3, increase count, print count at the end. All right. So let's do a normal for loop. It's going to be so for int I 0, I is less than, I swear to God. No, it's not regs. I is less than args.length I plus plus. Now I want to do if args I dot length in parentheses is equal to 3. What do I want to increase? No. I want to do count equal to count plus 1. Okay, any questions on this for loop? Everyone okay with the for loop? This is like CS111, but like with Java. So any questions? Nope. I'm gonna need more than one nope to move on. 2 nopes, good enough for me. Okay, so we loop through the args array. If the current word we're on, if its length is 3, we increase the count by 1. So now it's good. And then we want to print into the console the number of words of length 3. Okay. Let's move this. Sorry. Bingo. So now print count at the end. So system that out. Print. What do you want to do? You want to print there are, and I like to use string. Oh, there's something in the chat. I like using for string concatenation. I like using the actual pluses and I know there's different ways of doing it, but I prefer this way. There are count words of length 3. And then we're done. And that's the code. Any questions? Any questions at all? I see something in the chat. Yes, let's make that assumption. There's different ways of doing this count equals count plus 1. You could also do count plus equals 1. You could also do count plus plus, right? If you're always incrementing a specific variable by a certain amount, you could do this. This works for any operation. You could do like times equals, minus equals, etc. But for example, this case is who's unmuted? Mute. But in this case, because the count, we're increasing it by 1 only, there's a special case for when you increase it by 1, you could do count plus plus. This is only if you increase it by 1. But yeah, count plus equals 1 is also perfectly fine. Any other questions? Any other questions? This one wasn't too bad. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me do this. Okay. There's no questions. Let's do the next question. All right. Write a method called findNums that takes a two-dimension array of integers and as an int, what? And an int as parameters. Okay. Returns the number of times the integer parameter appears in the array. For example, if the array as created by the program below is yada yada yada, the parameter is 3, the value returned would be 2. The number 3 appears 2 times in the array. Okay, so we got our method. Alrighty. Okay, so basically we have an array, 2D array with rows and columns. Well, in this case, we don't really have rows and columns. We have a big array with many subarrays. We want to print out the number 3 appears is, I think he made a mistake in this one. He has the array and okay, one second, let me just ignore this part. The parameters are incorrect. He missed a parameter. Let's do it again. Public static int find nums int my array, and we have, let's say we have int n. Okay. Any ideas how we're going to start? What should we declare first to keep track of the number of times we see the number? Any takers? Okay, that's a good one. Int count is 0. Yep, the count variable works fine. So now we want to loop through the array. And because it's a 2D array, we got to use a nested for loop. So I'm pretty sure you remember, if you remember these from not C++, from 111, it goes something like this. So for int, you could use RC just like those shapes, but I and J work fine as well. Any numbers. I is 0. I is less than. What should I? Remember, I is going to loop through the outer array. So what should I be less than? 3. Are you saying 3 is as like the number of subarrays, or like 3 because that's the input here? Yes, my array. It's going to be my array dot length. Okay. I'm not sure if he's meant 3 because here there's 3 subarrays. So in this case, 3 is fine. Like I get why you say 3, but like in general, we want to generalize it for any integer array that they gave. So we're going to leave it less than my array dot length I plus plus. Bingo. Okay, now we have to have an inner for loop. Let's say j is equal to 0. J is less than. What's j going to be less than? My array I. Okay, good job, good job. Bingo. All right. What do we want to do? What are we going to check for? If, what's the condition? You guys are on a roll. Don't stop now. What am I checking? Remember, I pass in a parameter. I want to check the number of times I see this number. Can I show the question again, please? Right here. See the question? Right here.
What if you like made an integer array and then for the corresponding socket you would add to the count of it? Oh,
What do
no,
you
it's
mean?
only number 3, my bad. Because I was trying to have the same logic that you had where you use the my array I length instead of 3 to make it viable for any number that you would want to put in. So instead of just 3, but in this case, if it's only 3, I'll just put if my array is equal to 3 count plus plus, or ij, my array ij is equal to 3.
Okay. My array I, j is equal to 3. Yeah, sounds good to me. We want to check each element. Sorry, my OCD is gonna go crazy. I want to check, I like the logic. Every time I see a 3, then what do I want to do? Count plus plus. There you go. Oh, I'm sorry, 3. Oh shoot, I'm sorry. You're right. You're right. Equal n, not 3. In this case, in the example they gave, it's 3, but we want to generalize it for any n. Thank you. Good catch. Good catch. Good catch. And yeah, count plus plus. And then at the end, what do we want to do? Remember, we want this is a function, so it's not going to automatically give the answer. We want to return an int. So we're going to return count. Okay. Any questions? Any questions?
I have a question.
What's up?
Wait, how come for the inner nested loop, right? It's only like a my array and then just for I. There's no like second square bracket.
So you're asking why in this nested for loop we're going less than my array I dot length.
Yeah, but then there's not like because in the if statement is like, oh, my array I then J.
Okay. So let's take a step back. So this my array length, my array is this entire, let's use it as an example. My array is this entire array, right? So if I want to access each element in the array, that means we're accessing each individual subarray, right?
Yeah.
So that's why we're going less than my array dot length, because technically the length of this outer array is 3, right? Because it's 3 subarrays. For the second one, my array I dot length, okay, now we're at a specific subarray. I want to go through every element inside the subarray, right? So this is going to be array, so in this case it's going to be array 0, right? Like if I were to print out array 0, it would print out this array 10, 45, 3, and 8, right?
Yeah.
But now we want to go one step further. We want to check if each element, if there's an element that's equal to 3. That's why we got to use my array with the 2 square brackets, I and j. This is basically saying we're in my array, we're in this array, and now we're looking at each element individually. So in this loop,
Oh, I see it.
goes through each individual element. Am I missing a parentheses? I'm missing a parentheses. Does that make sense though?
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
I'm missing a parentheses. Why is what the hell? Okay. Okay, any other questions? That was a good question. Good question. I think what was it? Yeah, for Jaden, yes, this is supposed to be generalized. Because in this example, where it is cut off, that's why I'm not losing my mind. Anyways, in this example, we are like specifically given like, oh, the array is this, so there's 3, and we want to go find 3 specifically, but we want to generalize it for any array that we're given, and any, there's supposed to be n here, any integer parameter that's passed. Okay, that's why we want to leave it like this. Make sense? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? No questions? All right. We are moving on. Okay, write a main method that will request the user to enter strings using a J option pane input dialog. The method should continue accepting strings until the user types stop. Then using a J option pane message dialog, tell the user how many of the strings begin and end with a digit. Okay. All right. So this is where my inexperience with Lord comes in. How do I do J option pane? Let's try it. I will wing it. So I believe it's J option pane input is. Actually, let me ask you guys, how do I declare J option pane input dialog? All right, so we're gonna need a J option pane input dialog. How do I declare that? Do I gotta declare? This is an object, no? J option pane. Do I gotta declare it first? So then J option. Correct. Once again, correction. Correct me if I'm wrong. I've never taken Lord before. Pane. No. J. equals new.
So
Set
you
it equal
should
to-
you should set it equal to a string sentence, for example, and then J option pane dot show input dialog, and then your arguments would be null and enter a sentence.
Whoa, that's insane. Okay. J auction. Wait, say that one more time.
I can type it in chat.
Even better. Yeah, I'm gonna be so honest. When Akinlar did 212, he did all the GUI stuff in the last day. Wasn't even on the exam.
No, that's totally fair. Okay. So
So string input equals
should be something like that.
wonderful. J option pane dot show input dialog null enter sentence. Yay. Okay. So that's good. That's good. Now we have the J option pane. And I want to keep asking the user. Oh, wait. Okay. I want to keep asking the user for input. Well, before that, we need variables. Let's have variables. What variable should I have? Because we're trying to keep track of something. How many times the string begins and ends with a digit? Should I declare some sort of variable? Should I have a variable here? Anyone? I'm sorry. This is like, I'm starting to feel cold. All of a sudden, it's so cold. Oh my God. Any takers? I want to keep track of the number of strings. How many strings begin and end with a digit? So, yep, we got to keep a count. Count 0, right? Whenever we keep track of something, like we want to keep track of the amount of input or like some sort of in an array, it's useful to have count. Okay. Oh, and something I want to recommend with like naming variables, especially when it comes to exams, name variables what they're used for. So I want to keep count of something, name the variable count. If I want to take input, name the variable input. It's helpful not only when you program because it keeps it simple for everyone, but also in like exams. Like say you don't want to like name it weird things. Okay, so while I want to use a while loop because we don't know technically how many times the user is going to enter input. So while, what am I checking here? What am I going to check here? While something. Do you want to use a while true loop or do you want to do something else? You can do a while true loop. It's just going to have I don't know if he taught you breaks, continues. Okay, okay. I see what you're trying to do. Input does not equal stop. But did he? I don't think he taught you this. In Java, can you use the double equal sign for strings? Yep, you gotta use dot equals. You can use double equal sign. Reason being, I don't know why he explained the reason. So that's example. Let me explain it right here. Hello, and hello. Right? If I declare two separate strings, right, using the dot equals, this won't check if the strings are equal. This is only gonna check like the pointers because these remember these are like technically objects. So this is hello. This is hello. They're pointing to different objects. This equals is gonna check if like the address of both of these objects, like where they're declared, are equal. It's not gonna check if they're actually equal, like string wise. Okay, so it's important that you don't that you don't mix it up with a double equal sign. Okay, let's do that then. In general, anything object related is using the dot equals, like Monica's saying. All right, so we're gonna do if input is not equal to, so I'm just gonna put input dot equals stop. I'm gonna put not. Okay, so this is saying, let me go to this comment, while input is not stop. Okay, any questions? Any questions so far on the input, int count, any of this? Nope, nope, nope. Okay. So while the input is not stopped, we want to check something. And we want to check something and we want to increase count. So we're going to do this. What are we checking in each string? How many of the strings begin and end with a digit? Okay. I want to check something. If. What's going to go in the if statement? What are we checking? Any ideas? No idea is a bad idea. Whoa.
What if it's like if input 0? Oh yeah, someone literally just put it down. The couple
Well,
if input 0.
if input 0 dot is digit. Can I use input 0, like the array? Can I use that for strings? You guys think I could use that, or is there, do you think it'll work? Yes, no? Yeah, you can't use, this isn't, I don't think, in C++ you can, I think. In Java, because you have to remember, strings are objects. They don't technically work. Like in C++, you could think of a string as like an array of characters. In Java, that's not the same. So you got to use the input.charat, right? Exactly. So if input.charat, it's 0, and we want to check if it's equal, is it a digit? So we could, how about this? Let's, I don't want to put all that into one if statement. So what I'm going to do here is, let's just declare two dummy variables. Let's say C1 is equal to input.char at 0, right? And I want to keep track of the last letter too. So let's say char C2 is equal to input.char at, what index is going to be the last character? What should I put in here? -1. Does that work? In Python, I think it does for arrays. Does that work? Monica, does it work? Yeah. Length -1.
Yeah, I think length -1 should be it.
Yep. Not just length -1. It's going to be input dot length -1. Okay. There you go. Input dot length -1. And now we want to check if they're characters. So if character, let's see what you put, character dot is digit C1 and character dot is digit C2, then I want to, what do I do? Count plus plus, same thing. Okay. Any questions? Any questions so far? Everyone okay? If you have questions, please let me know. Can you explain the character dot is digit? Okay, so well, first, does everyone understand like where we got the characters from? I'm just declaring. I'm doing this because I don't want to stuff all of this into one if statement. It's gonna be messy, and I'd rather not. I'd rather keep it organized like this. And I recommend, like, if for an exam or if you do code in general, keeping it organized, even though it may seem unnecessary, it goes a long way. Keeps everything organized. So is everyone okay with char C1 and C2? Is everyone okay with these two lines? Okay. If character is digit, so let me actually show you guys. Java character. Each what is it? Variable has like its own little class, right? So you can see it is digit. Let me just make sure this is, yep. These are all the methods you could use for characters, right? Because thankfully everything in Java is like little objects, so characters have their own objects. So if you have a character, you can use the isDigit function. So what does it do? It determines if the specified character is a digit, pretty obviously, right? And by using is digit, we have to use like character because we're inducing like the character class. So character dot is digit C1. We're checking if C1 is a digit using this method. Right? So this is basically checking is C1 a number? This is checking is C2 a number? If they're both numbers, we increase the count. Does that make sense? And then let me just show you Java string. If you go on Oracle, see, dot equals compares the string, right? So not you can see how we get the dot equals from the string class. Okay. Is digit, yada yada yada. All right, we increase the count by 1. So now after all this, what do we want to do? We want to print out then using J option pane message dialog, tell the user. Okay, how do I declare J option pane? No, J option. Wait, do I do this? Oh, wait. Do I use this? Then something like this. String input. Ooh.
To
Oh.
output a message, you could just do JOption pane dot show message dialog.
So sage dialog. All right, what are we printing? We are printing. Let's see something. It doesn't specify. So, the user entered a string beginning and ending with 1 sec. With a digit plus count times. Is this being posted? What do you mean? We can print out output. Like the recording of the video? Not the video. Recording of the review session? I'll show where it's going to be posted. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's going to be posted on Learning Commons website. I will show at the end where that is specifically. Why do you keep doing this to me? Oh, okay. Wait, what the hell? Oh, we're good. We're good. We're good to see the link. Well, I'll also show it at the end. Any questions? Everyone good? Everyone okay with this question? See, I learned just as much as you guys did. Any questions? Any questions at all? Going once, going twice. Next question. Write a class envelope that contains the following information. Private instance variables for the height and width of the envelope, int. A 2-argument constructor to set each of the instance variables above. If the width or height or width is negative, throw an illegal argument exception stating that the argument is not correct. Get and set methods for each instance variable with the same error detection as the constructor. Okay, I have to do this. It's the best part of Java, object-oriented programming. Okay, I want to first create private instance variables for the height and width. How do I do that? Speak, students. Speak to me. Well, you can say in the chat too. You can type away. Yes, type. Yep, sounds good to me. Is it private uppercase? I think it's private uppercase. Private int height, width. Sounds good. Okay, I want to create a constructor. So how do we create a constructor? It's going to be public. All these methods are going to be public. What's going to be the title line of the function? Constructor. Any ideas? Any ideas? Mm-hmm. Public envelope. Is it envelope or envelope? I don't know. Int height. Okay, let's run with what you said for now. Int width. Okay. Now, let's first check the inputs, right? So if, what am I checking? Remember, we want to check if these are valid heights and width. So what's going to be, what are we checking? Okay, so if, what's less than 0? If height is less than 0, or width is less than 0, that means it's a bad input. 2, 3, 4, 5. Throw new legal argument exception, invalid height or width. And put a little very bad. Okay, that's good. If height or width is less than 0. Now, if it's not, I want to set our height of this object equal to whatever height they give. Same thing for the width. So how do I do that? How do I do that? This might be a little bit of a curveball. Let's see how do I do that? Any ideas? Yep. This dot height equals height. And I like how you put that because let me just write this down because it might be important. All right. I like how you use this dot height and this dot width because let me explain why. Here in our in our class, we have height and width. In our function, we're also taking in height and width. So if I just did height equals height and width equals width, switch the variable name and the parameters. I'll talk about that in a second. If I just did this and I did it how we normally do it, like if the variable name was different, then it would be confused. Like, what height are you talking about? Which width are you talking about? Right? And there's two ways of going around that. The first way is how Ajay said it. You use this variable, right? The this keyword basically means we're setting this height, so the height in the class equal to the height of the parameter. Did I spell height wrong? Holy, I didn't. Okay. Why did I think I spelled it wrong? I'm so sorry. English is my first language. I mean, it is, but I'm not good at it. Same thing for width. So we're setting the width of the current class equal to whatever input variable it is. Correct me if I butcher your name, Viandra, right? Did I pronounce it right? I'm assuming I did. Another way we could go around that is if we change the name of the variables. So example, if I did int h, w, h, w, right? Then I wouldn't need to worry about, oh, will the computer confuse height and age because they're obviously different variables. So I can just say height is equal to h, width is equal to w. Either of those ways are correct. So feel free to do whichever one you like. Sometimes it feels a bit more intuitive, just switch the name of the variable that you put as a parameter, and it'll make life, you won't have to worry about using this variable. I'll answer your question in a bit. But yeah, either way is good. If you use height, width, you just don't forget to use this. If you use it like this, like H and W, you just perfectly fine. Jaden's asking, why do you use private instead of public for questions like this? Okay, are you talking about this private for the variables? Okay. You'll learn this more, maybe in 212, but maybe also later on in your CS careers. why, like some good coding practices. When you code classes, the whole idea of a class is I have an object. I inherently don't want to, yes, it's high important information. I don't want the user to be able to access every single piece of information that's in my object. Maybe in certain cases it's fine if they do. Maybe it's most cases. If you go in a professional setting, I don't really want users to access it, right? Like look at Google, Instagram, all the big companies, big tech companies. They don't really want just anyone being able to access anything in their information. So what do? We have private. Private basically means it's only for this class. No one can outside can access it, right? If you made it public, well then, for example, if I created the class envelope, E is equal to new envelope, whatever, 3 by 4, right? If this was public, right? And say some malicious user wants to do something with the height of my envelope for some bizarre reason, they can just access it using e.height or e.width, right? It may seem pretty like it doesn't really matter here, but it's still important, especially when you end up coding bigger projects where you just don't want everyone to access everything. So that's why we can make it private. If I make this private, these 2 lines will throw errors. Like, oh, you're trying to access a private thing. However, sometimes it's still important. Even if it is private, we want to access these, right? Because once again, we want it so that people who we trust can access it, people who we don't can't. So to do that, we have getters and setters, get and set methods. Okay. So getters are just as they say, get the variables. All right, so let's do that. Public, let's do the first one. What's it gonna return? What should be the first one? Let's do the first one is returning get height. So what should be the title line for the function? Give me ideas, give me ideas. Public int. Don't forget, we're returning an int, right? Here, we don't really need to add a return variable because it's just a constructor. But here in get height, we're returning a height, which is an int. So don't forget to put int get height, right? Get height, no parameters because you're just returning get height. Public get height. Well, here we're not setting height equals anything, right? We're just returning it. So what do? Return height. That's it. We're not really setting anything to anything. We're not really setting height to anything. That is for a setter, right? So let's do this. Public, what's going to be the return variable return value of a setter? Void, void set height, and I want to take in, let's do it this way. Height, int height, use this variable. This is where you do this dot height is equal to height. Okay. Remember here, get height, we're just getting the height, nothing more, just return height. Set height, we're taking in a variable as a parameter. Oh shoot. One sec. It's not done just yet. Because we gotta check, is height good? So what do we check here? What's gonna be my if statement, guys and girls and everyone? Everybody. If h is less than 0, what do? Throw new reveal argument exception invalid height. Little mad face as well. Okay. Okay. Any questions? This is getter and setter. And who asked that question? Jaden. You see how we have made these methods public? So now say we have this class. If we have a trusted person and we trust them to like access this, we'll just let them know, oh, there's a getter and a setter. So then they'll be able to use these methods. And anyone else who doesn't really know about these getters and setters can then will not be able to access the height and width. Okay. So it's important.
So is it like I'm trying to wrap my head around the overall security advantage from it. So what stops a programmer from just using this and height? Like right out the, like if someone was, or a user was trying to maliciously do something with the code, and what if they just went and used this height is equal to whatever and they mess with your envelope?
What do you mean? Like inside? Well, inside the class, anyone can do anything. I'm saying like, say now this is a class, and now I have a main method. Okay, whatever. Main method, public, yada yada yada. Put height instead of 0. Oh yeah, sorry. Good catch, good catch. Right, and I declare envelope E is equal to new envelope. All right. Now, if I want to access height, I can't inherently do e.height or this.height. The only place where you use this is if you're inside the class, right? This like outside of that class, it won't. This variable, not variable. This keyword doesn't really. It won't work.
Oh, so they would have to like pinpoint it. I understand.
Yeah. So then, if you did pinpoint, like you said, height of E, because E is our first envelope, right? This would give an error.
Okay.
Right? If I want to get it now, whatever the object name is, like you said, you would do, in this case, it would be E. But now if I want to get the height, I would use get height. Right? Yeah, get height.
Okay.
And once again, this is assuming, like you might be wondering, well, what's the difference between using E.height and E.get height? Well, we're assuming that only those who like are trusted and know the code know that there's a getter and setter. Right? We're assuming anyone who doesn't really know the inside of the class, they don't really know what methods there are. Make sense?
Yeah. Okay. I understand that.
Any other questions about that? That's I think even though you're not going to really get tested on, I personally think that's like important. Like you should, a big reason why you're taking Java is to learn good coding practices. Like you're going to do a lot of coding if you're CS majors. It's good to know why we keep certain things private, why we keep certain things public, naming conventions for variables, because it's only going to help you. Okay, any questions? We're going to do the same thing now for width. Any questions before I move on? All right, taking silent as no questions. Okay, let's do a getter for width. What should be the title line? Hint, hint. It's very similar to get height. Give me the title line, everyone, or anyone. Title line. Public int get width. Okay, what's it going to return? If it returns anything. All right, someone else. Give me a setter for the width. Yeah, that's the hack. I could copy and paste, but there's not much learning in that. Pretty pizza. Well, in get width, we don't need to check anything. Oh, shoot. Are you talking about set width? I'm sorry, you are. Are you talking about set width? In getters, we don't need to check anything. Okay, very good. Public void set width. But you're missing just one thing. Set width, let's say int height. Don't need what? Well, you need a setter for the width. We only have a setter for the height. What do you mean? Different variable names. Oh, I'm sorry. Width. Right. We're gonna do this dot width is equal to width. Okay. And first we gotta check. So what is it gonna check? What are we checking here? Calm in the chat. Monica, I need you to moderate this. You guys are doing. Okay, let's do width. Let's actually just keep it Sure. Mm, W. W. W is less than 0. What do we do? Throw new. Okay, I'll copy and paste this. Invalid width. Width. Oh, I see what you're saying. This dot width equals W. Yeah, whenever the variable names are different, then you don't really need the this keyword. I see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah, I thought you said don't need this, mean like don't need the method. I'm sorry. I apologize. Any questions about this? So we're pretty much done. And what the heck? Stop cutting out. We're chilling. Both set methods look different here. Why are they different? Oh, you're right. Hold on. I just need width, and I think I did it wrong here. I did it reverse. Height is equal to h. Good catch. Look good? Everything looks good? Please correct any mistakes I made. I make a lot of mistakes. I don't even know how I'm still in this job with the number of mistakes I made, but hey, apparently they like it. They like the mistakes. Okay, any questions? Any questions? We're pretty much done with this practice exam. So, questions. Any questions we've done today in this exam? Does anyone want to move on to a different exam? Any questions for this exam?
Since it's like the halfway point of the review session, I'm gonna be sending kind of a feedback form for you all to kind of submit, because some of you may have other obligations to do. So if you're leaving, and please just take the time to like give us some feedback or comments for this review session, because it'll like improve future review sessions too. Thank you. And I'll send it at the end too.
Thank you, Monica. Questions. Do we need to use ignore case or on the stops only they ask? This one. Based on assumption, no, you don't really need it unless they specifically say, because here we're assuming that, oh, the only when the user enters like stop, like all in all caps. That's one of the questions you should like ask like anyone who's proctoring the exam or the Professor Lord himself, right? Like, do you want to check for when it's like explicitly? In this case, I don't really think you need to, but here we don't need to have that. You should ask. Yeah. Yep. His exam midterms are usually only 4 questions, mostly just straight up programming. Can we do 2013 exams? Sure. We will do that next up on today's show. Any other questions for this exam? Let me actually say, do y'all want me to save and share this file in the chat? Or do you guys are just like, okay, yes, okay. Okay. Saving. Hold on. Is the correct one? It is wonderful. I'm gonna make it like an answered. Answered. Okay. File. Answered. Okay. Partial credit. I'm pretty sure he does. He will give partial credit. You should get most partial credit. Curves. I've never taken them, but I'm assuming most professors do get curves. But yeah, send someone download the exam and make sure it's the correct thing. I didn't send some empty exam by mistake? Like the answers are actually there.
Yeah, I was able to download it. Yeah.
Okay, so the answer is there, right? It's not just a blank exam. Okay. All right, we're good. Okay. 2013. All right. Ooh, just a blank here. Okay. 2013. So first question, write a Java application that accepts one string parameter from a JOption pane input dialog and prints to a JOption pane message dialog the number of times 2 digits occur in a row. For example, testing 1 2, testing 1 2 3, 1 2 3, testing 1 2 2 3 2 3 4. Recall, there is, okay, so remember there's a characterized digit, so he explicitly gives a hint here. Okay, let's get cracking. Public static void main string args. I love Java, but this is the most annoying part. The very long main line. I think in the new update they fixed it, so it's only just main. I'm not sure. Okay. Let's start. What are we gonna have for the input? Let's create an input variable. Any takers, any takers. Anyone at all? We'll get to the count later. Count's gonna be later. Yep, looks good. So I'm gonna copy and paste that. Looks good to me. JOption pane not show input. If I lower the font size, everyone can still see it, right? Trying to lower it so that everything fits.
It's good on my screen.
Let's go. Very nice. Okay. Enter string. Sorry, my OCD is going crazy. All right, so now we have a string. Now we can have a count variable. All right, we want to keep a count. Well, yeah, let's have a count. Keep track of something, count, useful. Okay. I want to go through the string, character by character. And then I want to check if two characters, or not two characters, if 2 digits occur in a row. First things first, what's going to be the for loop about? So what do I put in the for loop? For int I is 0, I is less than input.length. Just be careful here. Whenever we're dealing with strings, you got to put parentheses. Yep. How many times the same number occurs twice? No, it's just 2 digits in a row occur. So here's going to be 1 because it's 1, then 2. Here's going to be 2 because it's 1, then 2, then 2, then 3. It's not the same number. It's just any number. A number. Okay. Mat plus plus. Remember strings. We got to use input.length has parentheses. For arrays, you don't need to use parentheses. But yeah, strings you do. Well, actually, I'll bring that up in the middle in a second. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want to check 2 characters if they're equal. What should I do? All right, we use a char at. So once again, I like keeping my code neat and organized. So let's do this. So let's do char C1 is equal to, what's our input? Dot char at I. So let's give an example. That's going to be here. I also want the next char. the next character. So what should I put for the next line? Remember, I'm comparing two characters. So we're going to do char C2 is equal to input dot char at I plus 1. Okay. Don't forget your semicolons. I put this. That's why. You mother of all. Oh my. Why would you do this to me? Why don't you stop, please? You know what? What the hell is Microsoft? Okay. C++ C1I. Oh, yeah. You learn to love Java. I love Java. So C++ is also fun. I like it. But I have a question. We're checking a current I, and then we're checking the next I. In this string, let's say I'm here. I is the last digit. Is there another digit to check? Is there the next digit to check? Well, okay, the syntax of Java annoys me. But you don't gotta deal with pointers. I don't know if you guys are taking 211. You'll learn in 211 why I like Java so much. But back to the question. If I'm on the last digit here, the last character, and this is also saying, now I'm asking for the next character. Is there a next character? Like, for example, if I is the last digit here, the last value, was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? Yeah. No, right? I'm gonna use a bad one. Well, you could use an if statement. Well, we don't. You could use an if statement, but why not? Let's just decrease the input, like um the range by 1. Because example here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If we're at 9, right? I is 9. And what's I plus 1? Well, I plus 1 is 10. 10 isn't in the range from 0 to 9. So this line will throw us an index out of bounds error. So to prevent that, well, we're just going to say, we're going to stop the character right before the end. So input.length minus 1. Okay, now I just wanted to point that out. That's it's a small, but it's an important. That's the difference between getting an error in your code and your code running smoothly. And on an exam, that's the difference between 25 points and maybe 23 or 22 points. Or maybe even more. I don't know how much they're going to take out for that. Small error, but I don't know. TAs can be weird. Any questions on that? Any questions? Another way you could have done it is if you, instead of starting at 0, we start at 1, and we check the current character. And instead of I plus 1, we do I minus 1. So the last character. But if that's the case, we have to start at 1. We start here and we do the last character. There's no last character. So we start at 1. And then we do, instead of I plus 1, I minus 1. Okay, but either one works. Any questions? Any questions about that? Anyone stuck on that notion on why we're going up until the input length minus 1? Any questions? While you guys think of any questions, I'm going to be right back. Give me 1 second.
All right, if there's like no questions, I'm also just gonna resend the feedback form. If you guys could fill it out in this brief moment, that'll be super helpful for like the continuation of these review sessions. Thank you.
Is Monica doing an advertisement? Oh my God, Monica.
Per chance.
Per chance. Insane. But please do fill out the form. Please tell me where I made mistakes and whether I should maybe talk faster, talk slower, use a voice changer, speaking a different accent, anything you want. Keep it PG though. So no questions. Let's move on. Now we have the two characters, and we could use the method they gave. So if, what are we checking here? What are we going to check? Remember, we only want to add to the count if the current if there's two digits in a row. What does that mean? That means the current value is a digit and the next value is a digit. Okay, if two digits in a row, count plus plus, but how do I check if two digits in a row? Okay, I agree. If two digits in a row, count plus plus, got it. Yep, copy and paste that. Is digit C1, C2. There you go. If I really hate you, Microsoft. If character is digit C1 and character dot is digit C2, count plus plus. Bingo. Yeah, here he explicitly gives out the is digit. So in 2013, Kenneth Lord was in a good mood. But yeah, usually when characters you could use is digit or to check if it's a digit. Okay. And at the very end, we're gonna print out the two digits happen 1 times. So system.out.println. Oh, we don't need print line. Print the two digits happen count times. Period. Okay. Very good, very good. Any questions? Any questions at all? On this question? I'll wait a minute for questions. Feel free to type it in the chat, raise your hand, speak out loud, interrupt me. I do not mind. What's the passing score for the exam? Great question. I don't know. I wish I could answer. I'm not 100% sure. Once again, this depends on his curve. I'm not sure. Monica, I'm not sure, but maybe I would assume.
I'll be honest, regarding the passing score, I'm not sure either. Just try to do as best as you can. I think if you get like at least like 2 questions right, you should probably pass, but don't quote me on that. Just
But I expect every single one of you here to get hundreds, nothing less. That's my
Mhm.
passing score.
Yep.
Everyone here should get 100. Nothing less, maybe more. Okay, the bar has been set. Let's move on to question 2. Write a Boolean method. Well, don't do 2 questions and leave. That's horrible. That's do not do that. What if you don't get the 2 questions right? Do as much as you can. Don't do that, please. Hundreds. I'm expecting hundreds. I will literally ring up Kenneth Lord and ask. I'll give him the list of all you students and say, give me the scores for each one of these students. Okay, I'll do it. I know people. I have connections. You got it. Easy. 100's easy. 101 easy. Easy peasy. Write a Boolean method that will return true if the sum of the diagonal, upper left to lower right, of a 2-dimension array is equal to the sum of a given row. Okay. Diagonal equal row equals, okay, given row. If the array is not a square matrix or the row number is out of bounds, throw an illegal argument exception with an appropriate message. Okay, here's some examples. My array 1, 0 returns true. So we're adding the values in the row, first row, and we're getting to add the values in the diagonal. Right? My array 2, once again, returns true. Here, my array 3 is going to throw an exception because it's not a square matrix. Yep, it's a rectangle. And my array 4, I think you got the numbers wrong. He put it's supposed to be 4. Also, there's an exception because you don't have, if it's a 4 by 4, you can't have row 6. All right, let's get to it. All right, let's have the title line, which he kindly gives us. Public. What is this function going to return? Hint. Look at the outputs. What does it return? Public boolean diagonal equals row, and he already gives the thing. So int my array int row. Okay. Bingo. All right. So what are we checking first? What are we checking first? There's two things we gotta check in order to raise an exception. What are those two things? Give me answers. Give me answers. Sum is one of them. Sum is a variable we're going to keep. Keep that in your back pocket. If it is not a square and rows out of bounds. Okay. Which one do you want to check first? Row out of bounds or actually? Let's actually put both of them into one if statement. So if how do I check if the row is out of bounds? Well, actually, let's do this instead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to create a variable n. Set it equal to, who's joining now? For whoever just joined, Monica, can you still give them I want to milk everyone for a feedback form. Send the feedback form. Even though you're here and we got 38 minutes left, we're still gonna make you do it. I'm gonna set n equal to the length of a row, right? Why not? So let's just say my array.length, right? So this is just gonna be length of the array. So that's gonna be for here. It's just this. That's n. Okay. This is for organization and also yeah, it's mostly for organization. So what are we checking? If my array.length is equal to my array. Yep. I like that. So instead of my array, actually, my array, if it is not a matrix, my array.length equals my array I. So the issue with that, Viandra, is that you put I. What's I? That's the thing. That's how you can just do my array 0. We're assuming that it's a square matrix, meaning that, yeah, checking any rows matter. Any row is fine. My array row.length. Well, okay. Nafisa, for that, 2, 3, 4, 5. For that one, well, remember, we're not sure if row is a valid index at all. Right? So say if it's this fourth one, if I've checked my array row, well, my array, there's no row 6. So that would automatically give an error. Right? So that's why we're checking. We can just use 0 like Jaden did. Right? So if my array is not equal to, oh shoot, one sec. My array length. Remember, it's an array, we don't need the parentheses. Okay. We only use parentheses when we're taking the length of strings. So that's 1 if it's not a square matrix. Or the input for the row is out of bounds. So how do we check if the input is out of bounds? Remember, we have row. So or row is greater than, what is it going to be greater than? N. Yeah, let's do n. Int n is equal to my array.length. Right, so I'm just going to put if n is not equal to my array 0.length, or n row greater than or equal to n. Is it just greater than n, or is it greater than or equal to? Remember, what type of index are our rows? Is it 1 indexed or 0 indexed? Greater than or equal to, right? Because if we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows, then they're labeled as this. There's row 0, row 1, row 2, row 3, and row 4. Right? So even if they put row number is 4, I'm sorry, row number is 5, even though this is a 5 by 5 matrix, row 5, well, row 5 doesn't exist. Because remember, our rows are 0 indexed. So it has to be greater than or equal to n. Okay? I can't wait to send this video out, and then Lord just sends me a menacing email saying, like, he got every single question wrong. Oh boy. Okay. If it's either one of these, we throw an exception. So throw new illegal argument exception invalid. Let me separate these. I think that's best. I think because he's giving two separate, yeah, not a square matrix. I'm going to put a mad face here. And I'm just going to do if row is greater than or equal to n. Same thing. Row, new legal arguments, exception, legal row. And a mad face. Why in the world would you intentionally put a bad input? Okay. Everyone okay with this, with that thing, this errors, yeah. Technically, yes, you would still get it right. That's perfectly fine. If you have them both and you just make a general message, perfectly fine. I would find it very harsh if he took off points for that. If he did, I would personally visit him and be like, why would you do that? But here, yeah, let's not push it. He in the example, he gives two separate error messages. It's better if you keep it that way. But yeah, I mean, if the TA takes off points for that, it's like very harsh. You got the main idea anyways. If anything, it shows you like understand it even more. So if they take off points for that, then I hope their salary gets deducted. But yeah, don't push it. Don't push it, look. Okay, we checked the exceptions. Now we will actually do the computation. So first, let's compute the sum of a row, of the row we're at, right? And I believe someone mentioned using a sum variable. Well, here we're going to use two sum variables, right? So for the first one is going to be for the row we're on. And the second one, let me use different colors. I have different colors. Ooh, which color should I pick? Red, orange. You got pastel orange. I like pastel orange. The second sum variable is going to use for the diagonal. Ew, that's weird. It's PHE. Okay. We're back to blue. Right, so we're going to use two sum variables. First one, int sum1 equals 0 is for the row. Let's do this for the row. Okay. Walk me through how I'm going to compute the sum for the row. We're going to use a for loop. What I'm going to put inside the for loop. Come on, guys. Come on, guys and girls, everyone. Need water. Give me the line of code, please. Yep. Int I is 0. We could use myArray 0.length, but that's why I kind of have the declared already. So we don't gotta keep perpetual. If I do semicolon, well, that's blah. So you don't gotta keep repeating myArray.length, myArray.length. It saves you a few seconds on the exam, and those few seconds could be very useful. I is less than n, I plus plus. Remember, we're not doing I myArray.length -1. because we want to get every single element. So we're going to do less than myArray.length or myArray0.length, either one, right? I is less than, yep. Now we're going to add to the sum. What am I going to add to the sum? Remember, I'm on a specific row, right? So say we're on row, sum plus equals. Yes, Jaden, it's not going to be myArray I, because remember, myArray I, yep, row I. myArray I is pointing to each row, like itself, a subarray in the array. You have to do row I. Yep. Row, my array, row, I. Bingo. Just like a JSON. Okay. Good, good, good. And I think we could actually do both of them in the, whoa, who's here now? Send the form, Monica. Let's actually have them sum 2. Sum 2 equals 0. Let's actually knock off both in one go. Do you guys want to do it both in one for loop, or do you want to keep it separate for loops? I'm going to ask you. Let me ask. One for loop, separate for loops. Let me ask. Do you want to do separate first and then come try and see how I can combine them, or yes, no, maybe so? Okay, yes to separate. You could do it in one for loop. Let me first do it separately, and then I'll show you a way of. Yeah, one specific. Yeah, I see. Yeah. For computation, it's better to do it in one go. But it's 212, so you're not gonna be tested. This isn't a Google interview. So for the sake of showing everyone, I'm gonna do it in 2 separate for loops. Afterwards, I can show you how it's done in one for loop. Okay. So this is the sum for the row. Yes. Sum for the row. Now we're gonna do the sum for the column. Equal to 0. Okay, for int I is 0, once again, I is less than n, because that's it's n by n, I plus plus. So now we're going to do sum 2 plus equals, what am I going to add to sum 2? Remember, we're going up by the diagonal now. So it's going to be, examples use this, it's going to be 0, 0, 1, 1, this is 2, 2, this is 3, 3. Okay, so what is this going to be adding? Not row plus I, right? I just want the diagonals. And row plus I could give us an invalid index. Say row, yep, my array I. Right? The issue with doing like +1 or using row +1 is it could give us an invalid index and it's not going to give us a correct diagonal. We instead use my array I. My array I. Okay. All right. Any questions on that? So the sum for the diagonal. No, the diagonal does not have to start the row. The diagonal is just a diagonal of the matrix. For example, here where the row is this, the diagonal is this. It doesn't need to start at the row. It's starting from the top left corner, goes into the bottom right corner. Okay. Any questions? Any questions at all? No, no questions? All right. So that's how you could do it in 2 loops. I'm just going to quickly show how to do it in 1 loop on the side. Int sum 2 equals my array n minus 1 plus No, Jaden, we're not adding just the first and the bottom. We're adding every single value in the diagonal. Yeah, we're not just adding the endpoints. I see why you said that. I see why you theorized that, but no, we're not adding because the diagonal is every single point in the diagonal. You can't just add the endpoints. All right, so how to do it in one loop? Because why not? We're gonna do for int I is 0, I is less than n, I plus plus. Let's have sum 1 equals 0, sum 2 is 0. I'm gonna do sum 1 is equal plus equals my array row I. Sum 2 plus equals my array I. So you basically put everything in the same one because technically both of them have I. Okay, so this one, computationally, you have one loop. It's better, but here for explicitity, for blah, what did you say? Explicit to show everyone how it's done, you'd have two separate. But it's also done in. It can also be done in one loop. Do either way. I don't think either. I think either one's correct. All right. Any questions? You all have been awful quiet. Return true when? Okay, let's do that, Leandro. When do I return true? If what? Actually. Mm-hmm. Return true. Well, don't return false first. Right? We want to return true if they're equal. And also, remember, these are integer values. We could use a double equal sign here. Sum 1 equals sum 2. We only use dot equals when it's strings or like objects. Okay. Otherwise, we return false. Else. Return. Okay. So you want to check first. If it's correct, then you return true. Otherwise, you return false. Okay. And another way you could do this, let me just put this as a. You can just return sum 1 equals sum 2. Because remember, this is inherently going to be a Boolean value, right? If this isn't true, it's going to, like, if this is true, this is going to be true. If true, then return true, else return false. So if you just put return if they're equal, this just returns true if they're equal, false if they're not. Once again, if you want to explicitly write it out, that's perfectly fine. Okay. Any questions? Any questions at all? It's a bit of a lengthy one, but I think we got two more after this. Any questions? Nope, no questions. Anyone else other than Vyandra? I think Vyandra got it down. Anyone else? I need at least two more nopes before I can move on. That was awfully quick. So you guys are listening, you're just not responding. I see how it is. I'm joking. Okay. All right. Write a class distance with the following specifications. A private static integer called inches in a foot with a value 12. A private static float called feet in a meter with a value of 0.3048 f. Instance variables to integer instance variables feet in inches. A no argument constructor to initialize a distance with 0 feet, 0 inches. A 2 argument constructor. Yes, this is how you show it's a float. If you want to declare it without the f, you use a double, but float you use f. 2 argument, yada yada yada. Thrown the number of so two positive integers, numbers more than 12. 11. Okay, get set methods. Public method. Oh boy, this is a long one. How is this only? I'm gonna leave this question for the end. That's fine with everyone here. Let's try and do this one. Output question. Okay. Yes. Floats are usually, yeah, floats can contain a bigger number than doubles. Right? That's pretty much it. Either one works, but in terms of like actual length, floats can contain bigger decimals. All right. What will be printed by this program? This is an example of an output question. He might ask this. He might not. I am not sure. But we'll still go over an output question just so that if he does put an output question, I don't get a angry mob at the learning commons saying that I didn't do an output question. So, public class question 4, what will print? Okay. We have 4 strings, static strings, S1, S2, S3, S4. This is the main function, right? So we're gonna start here. S1, let me write this down somewhere. So we got S1 is cat. Pardon my handwriting, I'm using a mouse. S2, public chat. His first midterm contained an output question. Okay, so once again, you can't blame me if there's an output question. I did go over an output question. S2 is dog. S3 is rat. Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm sorry, I just got a notification. The playoffs are going on right now. Tigers won. Oh shit. They did. Hold on. Mariners. Marvin Hudson was an absolute. Okay, I'll watch it after this review session. Okay, S3 is rat. Okay, animal S1, S2. So we're gonna go here. Remember, this isn't what's being printed. It's just I like having the variables like connected with everything. Keeps it organized. Okay. Private static void animal string A1 A2. So A1 is S1, whatever S1 is. A1 is cat. A2 is S2. So A2 is going to be dog. Okay. If A1 equals A2, we print A1. Is A1 equal to A2? No. So we do else. Else, we print A2. What is A2? Dog. So we're going to print dog. Very good. And then what the heck? And then we go to the next line. Nothing there, we return back. System.out.println, mix them. Okay, so this is going to be a string that returns. Return a string. So let's go. Mix them S2, S3. So S2 is dog, S3 is rat. So here we're in mix them. B1 is whatever's passed first here, so S2. So B1 is dog. And B2 is whatever's passed to the second variable. B2 is S3, which is rat. Okay. Okay. C1, now we have a new variable. C1 is equal to B1. C1 is going to be dog. Okay. B1 is going to be equal to B2. B1 is now going to be what B2. What's B2? Rat. So B1 is no longer dog. B1 is going to be rat. Okay. Any questions so far? Once again, you see how like drawing it out and having these arrows, it's important. I feel like it is important that you have. Do not try to do this in your head. You will make mistakes. you're gonna lose points. You're gonna come crying back to one of us in the learning comments saying, I lost points because I tried doing it in my head. And Monica's gonna be, we told you not to do it in your head. Monica always tries doing it in her head, but I always tell her not to. But anyways, B2. So now B2 is going to be a new string, hat. So B2 is on the red. B2 is hat. Hat it is. All right, what do we have so far? B1 is rat, B2 is hat, C1 is dog. All right. System.out.println B1. What am I printing? Rat. Yes. System.out.println B2. What am I printing? Hat. System.out.println C1. What am I printing? Dog. Now this is a curveball. System.out.println S2. What am I printing? What am I printing for S2? Well, S2 is dog, but where is it, dog? Inside which method? Is it going to give an error? S2 says dog, but well, where's S2 dog? S2 is dog inside the main function. It's not dog anywhere outside. Doesn't exist. It's not declared outside. It is. We have S2 exists because remember, it's out here. In the class, it exists. But is it declared?
I mean, within the scope of this function, it's not declared.
But it's
So
outside. So what is it going to print?
I think nothing. Don't quote me on that though. I'm not entirely sure about this part.
It would print nothing. Pretty sure. Because let's go through. When we declare it, when you declare an int, say x, if you don't put a value, what your computer will inherently do is it declares a variable for x, but it stores nothing in it. Right? So if you think about it, nothing is technically 0. Right? So that's why if I still do x equals x plus 1, it'll still add, I'm pretty sure. Once again, check this with your professor, but I'm pretty sure it is. Right? So if I declare a string, but don't give it a specific value, yes, we open nothing. It's initially just declared with null. Null means nothing. It's not pointing to anything. It's there, the S2 is there, the box for S2 is there. But it's not pointing to anything. So just empty string. Is everyone okay with that notion? It might be a bit confusing. Is it gonna? Yes, you skip it. You don't write anything. Right? This writes nothing. An empty string. Is everyone okay with that? The IDE will print nothing. Remember, null is nothing. For string, null is the empty string. No, don't leave any space for it at all. This is important. The empty string is not equal to like a space. Don't leave a string. Don't leave anything. That means you just skip it. Just skip the line. Skip the line. Don't write null. That's important. Do not write null. Null means nothing. Right? Null means there's a box for S2. There's literally nothing in there. So what would you do? You just skip it. Skip it. I don't write this line. I go to the next line. Everyone okay with that? We don't end yet, because remember, there's something afterwards. There's still a return. Yep, there's still a return value to print. Everyone okay with that? For example, if S2 was declared inside the main, then trying to reference it outside, that would give an error. Because S2 doesn't know what S2 you're talking about. But here, S2 is declared outside the main. It's inside the class. S2 is inside the class. So it exists. It's just not declared with anything. It's just null. It's just an object. It's just pointing to something, an empty box. So if I want to print it, it prints nothing. Okay? Everyone okay with that? I want to make that that's important. Like some people can trick up some people. Okay. I can't speak for my life. What if after S2 it asks for B1? So how will you write it? Like, no, do not skip the line.
Wait, so I compiled the code. Apparently it runs dog.
It doesn't talk. So wait, so it does.
I
Okay.
guess it does.
Okay.
Base
Dog.
it off.
Wait a minute.
Declared
It
it
does? Dog.
in the main program.
That's
So
confusing.
I
Wait,
guess
hold on.
just forget what we said in the past like
Forget it.
2 minutes.
Forget it. I'm sorry.
Just forget it. Just
get it. I'm getting
whatever's declared in the main
Mean,
function,
yeah.
I guess you're right.
I guess that's
Just
that
like
doesn't make
what
sense.
Naphesis wrote in chat.
Yeah, Nikki's, you're right. That's on me. But initially, it's null. I think, yeah. Okay. My apologies, chat. I told you I make a lot of mistakes. It looks like it does take the main. That's so confusing. Maybe because it's only main. In the other class, it wouldn't. So it's dog. Okay, it's dog. Did I confuse you guys? Java does, I see why you're mad. The reason why I said it doesn't here, it's because there's a main. And main it does. Okay. I see why it's like that. Because main runs first. If it was in a different class, for example, right here, where is it? Oh, no, this is one. Here, no. Here, yeah. Here, these initially are null, but because there's no main. Yeah, okay. Thank you for catching that. That's on me, chat. Apologies for mix up. Yeah, yep. You run it. Okay, thank you for running it. How you're able to run it that fast, that is insane. Oh, actually, you just copy and paste it, maybe. Very smart. But yeah, dog, okay. Isn't that because main is public? Well, not because main is public, because, okay, I see why. Because in the code, main is always the first thing that runs. So if this main function was just a regular function, and we called it in the main, it would have run first. Because it's main, it always compiles first. It's like in C++ when you have int main, right? Main is always the first thing that's ran, right? I think there's the same thing in Python. I forget what it's called. It's like, what is it? Quickly check it. Main in Python. Yeah, if name equals main, basically wherever the main function is, it always runs that first. That's on me. Ignore what I said for the past 2 minutes. It's gonna print a dog. Everyone okay with that? Is anyone confused? You want me to explain it again, but this time better? I apologize. I knew I was gonna make a mistake like that at least once. Everyone good with that? Did I lose anyone? We're good? Well, Yonder, you're the only one who responds. We're good? Okay. Who's gonna print dog? So then it's gonna return B2. What's B2? Hat. Okay. Returns that here. And remember, don't forget to print this last time because there's a system.out print line here. So it's gonna print whatever it's returned. S2, S3, yada yada yada. It is hat. And we're good. Any questions? If you have questions, please speak, especially if I confused you. But what I did say is true. Everything is null initially. It's just here because there's a main function inside the class. You don't really see that. That's why it's like weird. In regular classes, you don't see a main function inside the class. Turn type is, yeah. Well, here it's important because you have to remember main is always ran first. Even if the main is inside the class, it's run. Right? It's not the reason why I got confused is because it's not encouraged to have this. Because say you have another main outside public main, yada yada yada, and say I call the class inside the main, then the computer is gonna like blow up like what main? There's a main here, there's a main inside the class you're calling. It's not gonna like it. It's gonna like ruin your code. But yeah, here because there's a main, always remember, main is always ran first. Always run first. We good? Is everyone good? I don't think we're gonna do this. Everyone good? We got 5 minutes left. You all want me to run through this last question speed run? Or
Could you
can I
show
show
the last solution?
this
Yeah.
one? Dog, rat, hat, dog, dog, hat. Good, Maya? Do you see it? Do you see the hat? That's kind of. And repeat why dog is twice at the end. Well, it's because, well, dog is printed here because dog is C1. No, skip it. Question 3 briefly. Sure, we'll do that now. This dog is printed because it's C1. Right? Remember, C1 is dog. And this dog is printed because we're printing S2, and S2 is declared outside. But what I failed to see was that this is a main function. It declares S2 inside the main. So then technically S2 is a value dog. Yeah, I'll send a copy of this PDF as well. Okay. Does that make sense? Whoever asked the question, Maya, does that make sense? No worries. All right, we're gonna quickly do this. We might go a bit over time. I think that's fine. I'm gonna try and speedrun this, so I might not ask for as many questions to you guys. But if I make a mistake, correct me. Okay. We're gonna have public class distance. All right. We're gonna have two private static integer variables. So private static int inches in foot is equal to 12. Private static float feet in a meter 0.3048. It's a float, so be sure to include the F. If we were to declare like a double instead, you don't need the F. But because it's a float, float is gonna have an F. Is it really? Man, I am 2 for 2 for mistakes. Is it really? Float? I feel float's bigger. Or double's bigger. Use float. Don't use double. 2 instance variables. I'm sorry, I keep getting confused. Been a long day. 2 integer variables, int and feet. We'll keep them private just for good measure. 32-bit single position. Lord. It's been a long day. I didn't get any sleep. This master's is taking a toll on the guy. Oh my God, what am I doing with my life? I need to find a job really quickly. I'm gonna lose it. Okay. Private. We're gonna have 2 integer instance variables. Feet in inches. Just for the sake of good coding practice, we're gonna keep them private. So private int feet and inches. You won't need it for 212, but for those of the CS majors here, it is going to be important, the size of floats and doubles later on, but don't worry about it now. Okay, so in 2 integer instance variables, feet and inches. Constructors. So let me label this. We're going to go a bit over. Monica, could you please post the feedback form for anyone who doesn't need to leave now? If you do need to leave now, feel free to leave. I'm just going to quickly finish this last question. Yeah. Yeah, I assume it, yeah, that's pretty much it. If you have a getter and setter, always assume it's private, and it's just good coding practice. Make the variables private and then just add a getter and setter. If you do need to leave now, I don't know when your exam. When is your exam? Good luck on your exam. Fill out the feedback form. Don't listen to my stupid knowledge. Listen to the knowledge that was correct though. And good luck, you got this. I expect, like I said, I expect hundreds from all of you. I have your list. I have a list of students who attended the Zoom meeting. I will find each and every one of you if you didn't get 100. Not a threat, only encouraging. All right. Constructors. Okay. A no argument constructor to initialize distance with 0 feet, 0 inches. So no argument means it's just going to be public, distance, and nothing in the parentheses. For those who will stay, as a reward of staying, I will show the actual website for the Learning Commons. So stay tuned. What are we gonna do? We're gonna do feet equals 0, inches is 0. Okay. Otherwise, public distance. If you have a parameterized constructor, I'm sorry. We got int, let's say I for no, f for feet, int I for inches. We're going to do in feet is equal to f, inches is equal to I. But before that, we must check if two positive integers and a legal argument if the number of inches is more than 11. So we're going to do if f is less than 0, or I is less than 0, or I is greater than 11, we're going to do throw new legal argument exception invalid inputs. And we can't forget the mad sign, mad face. Important. Okay. Good. Let me zoom into this. Yep. Get set methods for the instance variables, set methods for instance variables. Okay, I'm gonna quickly do this. Okay. Public int. No, I'm sorry. Hold on. It's gonna be a float. Float f. There you go. Okay. Public int get inches. What I'm gonna do? Return inches. And copy and paste this. Public float. Be sure to don't mix up your variables. Get feet. Return feet. Public void set inches. So I'm gonna have int I. We're gonna have a check. Same name, doesn't mess up the code. What do you mean by oh yeah. Same name, but the only difference that has to be that's the name doesn't matter as long as the parameters. That's what matters. So here we do have two constructors. Parameters need to be different. Right? You can't have multiple constructors that have the same name and the same parameters. That would mess up the code. Okay. Also, just because I'm going fast doesn't mean you can't ask questions. Please ask questions. If you do have questions, just because I'm going fast to try and complete this question and get it to you guys before we leave, doesn't mean you don't ask questions. Okay. Set inches if I is less than 0 or I is greater than 11. Throw new legal argument exception, invalid input. Yeah, a little mad face as well. And then same thing. Feet. We got float f. If f is less than 0, I forgot the setting. Inches is equal to I. Feet is equal to f. Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? Okay. Any questions so far? I think I need to pause to ask for questions. Any questions so far? No. Okay, so the speed run's going good. All right, speed run's going good. All right. Now we're going to have two public methods. Public add that adds one distance object to itself. That is 8 feet 3 inches. Okay. Okay. So we're going to have, what's going to be the title line? It's going to be public. It's going to give a new, wait, it doesn't, I'm sorry, it doesn't add a new. It's going to be public void. Yeah, void, because it doesn't really return anything. Add. And for the parameters, we're going to return, we're going to, not return. We're going to have two distance objects. So distance D1, distance D2. No, wait, sorry. It's only one. I say distance D. The methods would be inside the public classes. Yeah, these are inside. I just ran out of space. See that? I ran out of space. These are all inside. Draw an arrow. Inside. Does that make sense? These are all inside the. This is not a space. You would probably ask for another sheet. But yeah, these are all inside the public class distance. Okay? Got it. Alrighty, tidy. So we're going to add the distance, the feet and inches for this into, wait a minute, feet in a meter, float. I think it's an int, right? Sorry, I thought it was a float the entire time. I need sleep and food, sustenance. Okay. I am so sorry. It's an int. Losing my mind. I should have been a business major instead. All right, so we have W1 new distance. So what do we do here? W1 is an object with, what is it, 4 feet? Yeah, feet is 4. 4 feet, 9 inches. So 4 feet, 9 inches. W2 is an object with 3 feet, 6 inches. Someone just got offended. Who got offended? Why are you getting offended?
I think the business majors.
There's business majors in this call? Why are you taking 212? Oh. Yeah, no offense. The business majors in their coloring books can get as offended as they want. So what are we doing? We're going to take the feet in W2 and add them to W1. Okay, so what am I going to do? I'm going to do W1 dot set feet as what? We're going to do W1 dot get feet plus W2 dot get feet, not feet. Are we good with this? Any questions? No questions, right? So that's pretty straightforward. We're setting the feet, right? So it's gonna be W1 set feet. We add this, right? Now, what are we gonna do? With the inches, let's not do this right away. I'll show you why in a second. We're going to say F is equal to W1.getFeet plus W2.getFeet. Now we're going to say inches, I, is equal to W1.getInches plus W2.getInches. Finally, Microsoft's being good with the autocorrect. Everyone okay with these two lines so far? We're adding the feet and we're adding the inches. Pretty straightforward. Okay? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? No questions? But now, the reason why I did this was because here we see 9 plus 6 is 15. 15 isn't a valid inch because 15 is more than 11. So, what do we do? If, well, actually, if inches is greater than 11, right? What do? We're going to increase the number of feet, add a foot. Yep. F plus. And then we add a foot. So now we got to take away from the inches. And then that means we're going to do this all in the assignment. How do I find the remainder if I take away 12 from the inches? For example, 9 plus 6 is 15. I got an extra foot, 1 foot, and I want to get the remaining inches. How do I get the remaining? Yep, mod. I is equal to I mod 12. You could also write this as I mod equals 12. Okay? So this is just in case the inches goes above 12. And now we'll do the setters. So we'll do W1 dot set feet F, W2 dot set inches I. We're good? Everyone good with the add function? Why'd you do this? Stop it. Don't cut off. Everybody okay? I've lost a few of you. It's been a long day. I know you all want to sleep. Okay, we are good. One more function, then we could all head out. I'll send it before this, don't worry. Metric distance that will return as a float the number of meters in the distance represented by the objects. Okay, so feet in a meter, wait, inches in a foot, feet in a meter. Metric distance, turn as a float the number of meters in the distance represented by the objects. So that's going to be assuming we could set the okay, let's just try this. So we're going to do public. It's going to return a float, so public float. Metric distance of an object. 5. Okay. We're going to do this. We're going to first convert the number of feet to the float. How do we do that? So we're going to do F is equal to this dot feet, number of feet. We're going to do float F equal to this dot feet. I'm going to convert it to a float. Let me do typecasting. Typecasting. I don't think we need this typecasting. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I'm just converting the feet, because it's an int, to float. Okay? And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to do F plus equals the number of inches divided by, let's convert that to a float as well. Float inches divided by 12. Okay? Everyone okay? Why am I doing this? Does anyone have any questions? This might be a bit confusing. Everyone okay? Any questions at all? No questions? I'm doing this because I want to convert. I want to get the number of feet as just one variable, right? I don't want to like have in because there's no variable here to convert inches to a meter. So I'm gonna get the number of feet as like one variable. So I set that equal to the original number of feet, and I just tack on the number of inches as a decimal. Okay. And now we're gonna do return. Return f number of feet times feet in a meter. Yep. Can we do f equals float feet? You could. Yeah, you could. I think that's good. Float feet, that works. This is just to be sure, but float feet works. Return f times feet in a meter. Feet in a meter. And there you go. That's our return. And we're done with the function. Done with the class. Any questions? Any questions at all? Before I save this, let me save this. Saved. Answered. Any questions? Everyone okay with this question? Everyone okay with all the questions? Everyone good? Yep. I'm gonna need more than one. Give me 2 more, then I'll send the PDF. Not from the same person. Ah, we're good. Okay. All right. So let me send this PDF. Or where is it? And once again, I'm gonna need someone to check just in case. Please check if it's correct and if it is filled in. I forgot to put my name. Damn, I would have gotten a 0.
Yeah, it's all filled out.
Thank you. All right. Any other questions? Any other questions at all? Going once. Do you have other exams to practice? I do. Monica, could you send? Let me actually just send it.
I I remember I sent you another one.
Yeah, I'll send it
I
right
don't
now.
know if you have it.
Yep.
And as for your question, reading from a TXT file, I don't think that's going to be on your first exam. I think it's going to be on the second exam because I don't think you've done file input output yet. I think on your syllabus it says which lectures the exam is going to focus on, but I don't think it's going to be
Yeah, it's not.
TXT files, like reading them over.
Wait, no, it went away. Oh shoot. Oh my God, you scared me. Sorry. I thought I lost the work. But yeah, no TXT files. I would trust Monica.
And you're returning f times feet in a meter because you want it like in metric distance. If you just return feet, it's going to be in I guess US units.
Yeah, that's why we have to convert it. This F is the number of feet. It's a decimal. For example, if you had like 4 feet 6 inches, it would have been 4.5 feet, and you convert it to meters using feet in a meter. Okay. Everyone okay? No problem. Let me just show y'all. Learning Commons QC, where it's going to be. On the website. Resources, CSCI resources. They posted it here. 212. Yep. It will be posted here. Okay. This upcoming, but I think I wouldn't expect it today because they're probably not at work. But expect it by Monday latest. I'm not sure when your exam is. When's your exam? It says it here. Friday, October 24th. Oh, so it's next week. Hey, you got time. It's gonna be posted before then.
Yeah, definitely within by Tuesday, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I guess I'll just send the feedback form one more time for anyone that hasn't filled it out, but thank you for